Hello friends, it's Christine from Hollis Create. How are you? Today is Sunday, May 21st. This is my episode number 47 on my Flosstube channel. My Flosstube channel is a channel about primarily cross stitch, sometimes with a few other crafty things thrown in, but today we're going to talk about cross stitch. I hope everyone is well. It's been about 3 weeks this time since my last Flosstube, instead of 2.5 months, so major improvement has finally ended. And this front room, which we have converted from a traditional dining room into kind of just, I don't know, a bit of an all-purpose room. We have an antique, very large oak roll-top desk, and so that is coming into this room. We've got an antique library table and an oak buffet and some things like that. And so those kinds of pieces are coming into here. The last thing to do in this room is to replace the very outdated chandelier. And so I've been looking at lighting fixtures. We're going to do kind of like a semi flush mount higher up, obviously, since we're not going to have a dining room table in the middle of the room. I actually am short enough I can walk right under the light with no problem, but the rest of my family, daughters and son, and my husband all like whack their head on it. So sometimes it pays to be short. But anyway, that's kind of the last thing to be done, and the desk is the last piece of furniture to get moved into this room. Yesterday afternoon, I actually started going through my cross stitch framed pieces, trying to figure out which ones I wanted to hang. And I kind of got a little bit of a start. Up here, I have a blackbird piece. This is a blackbird piece, Feast of Friendship. This has come into my garden. Over here is the Friendship Sampler, Jenny Bean from Shakespeare's Peddler. Over here is the blackbird conversion of a Maggie Banana Meat design, Union Forever. And here is a Paulette Stored or Plum Street Samplers, Love Thy Neighbor. So far, those are the pieces that I have decided to hang in this room. Across the room from me, I have hung my And Be Kind, which is from Needlework Press. And if you've seen that design, it's a really long piece, and I can insert a photo of that. But that's about it as far as what's on the walls right now. So as we kind of get going, I'll add some more pieces. We have to get the desk in place so I can kind of see how that looks. I am thinking of putting my historical samplers that I do every summer across the top of that antique desk, and we'll see. I kind of got to figure that out. I have enough wall space there, and so that'll be the last thing to get in place. But finally, you're not seeing kind of dirty, gross walls. They had so much stuff hanging on the walls, and there was so much dust behind the things that were hanging on them because they hadn't been removed and dusted behind at all, that there were literally dust balls hanging onto the wall. And when we tried to get it clean, it just made a mess. And the paint was like a really drab yellowish color. And so we lightened it and brightened, and I'm very happy with it. Very happy with it. I wanted to say also thank you so much my video this last time, my life update regarding with what we're going through with my mom. Your comments were so very kind, and it was very uplifting to read, and I just really appreciate it. It's amazing to me as I talk to more and more people. It just seems like so many of us have gone through very similar situations where a parent, an aging parent, maybe begins to have dementia or some kind of a memory loss or something very similar. And it's been very educational and helpful and somewhat cathartic to me to kind of share those experiences and to learn from what some of you have already gone through ahead of me. And just to know that what I'm feeling is not unusual at all. Obviously, each of us have our own personal thing that we go through because it's our own personal situation. But thank you again. I just want to say thank you so much for your kind comments. What else have I done in the last 3 weeks? Well, I went to Amana to the Farm Girl Dry Goods Retreat. That one was featuring Paula Stewart of Plum Street Samplers, and she's one of my really good friends, and so would not miss a retreat with her. So that was fun. That was the first weekend after my last video. Then this past weekend, we kind of did an impromptu trip to Seattle. As everyone is aware, if you've been following me, we root for the Philadelphia Flyers and whatever team my daughter works for. And at present, she works for the Seattle Kraken. But I have to say, she's worked for the Predators, the Stars, and the Panthers. And now with the Kraken, she has worked from them literally from the ground up, from the time that Seattle was awarded the 32nd expansion team. And it has been very easy to become a Seattle Kraken fan because it's it's kind of an organic thing rather than you're just switching allegiance. And it's been so exciting, and the fan base is just fantastic. I love all of the swag. We flew to Seattle because they had made the second round of the playoffs. They were playing the Dallas Stars, and so we flew out for a game on Saturday. They had to win or lose. They needed to win. Well, of course, they had to win or lose, but win or be kicked out of the playoffs. And they needed to win to force a Game 7 back into Dallas. And so it was super exciting. The game presentation was awesome. We had flown out for their inaugural home opener against the Vancouver Canucks, and hadn't been to a game since then. It was at the beginning of their first season, and of course this was the end of the second season, so there was a bit of a gap. And I have to say, I told Savannah that the game presentation between the first one and this last one was just miles ahead of where it had been. It was so much fun, and it was cool to participate in singing the sea shanty songs. And they really they talk about the Key Arena, or now it's called the Climate Pledge Arena. They call it the Deep, because when they had lifted the Key Arena roof, which they were instructed to maintain because it has some historical significance, in Seattle, city of Seattle wanted it maintained, they had lifted this thing. And so in order to make an arena big enough, they literally scooped out underneath. And so that's one of the reasons why they call it the Deep. And of course, the Kraken obviously lives in the Deep as well. And it's such an impressive arena. It really is. It's beautiful. And so we were thrilled. We just had a great time. They won, and that was the great news. Forced the Game 7. So unfortunately for us, the game was Saturday afternoon at like 4 o'clock. We were able to grab dinner with Savannah immediately after the game, and then she had to just, drop us back off, and she had a flight out with the team the next morning at 10 to head back to Dallas. And we had booked a flight at like 6:30 because if they were to have lost, we would have then gotten to spend, the day with her. And unfortunately, we didn't get to spend the day with her. But that's okay. We kind of know Seattle enough now. We've been out there enough that we kind of knew where to go and some things to do. My son went with us, and that was his first trip to Seattle. So we had some things that we wanted him to see. And so he really thoroughly enjoyed it. And, you know, and it was a lot of fun. So we had a great time. Unfortunately, they lost on Monday in Dallas, which was a real bummer. But again, just a tremendous improvement from season 1 to season 2. Second round of the playoffs. Very exciting. Let's see what else happened. Let's see. Oh, and you know, apologies. I'm sorry. I always, when I film, I go back and I re-watch because I also want to make sure that, you know, maybe at some point I'm not super rambling and need to edit, or I need to insert some photos that I promised I would, whatever. Everything I saw was a normal screen, but there were several of you who said that you could only see half of what I was showing, and I apologize. If there's something that you really wanted to see a full picture of, if you want to comment on this one, on the next video, I can go back and re-show some of those things. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if in the uploading to YouTube, some kind of an error happened. I don't know. I've gone back and looked at it a couple times. I looked at it on my desktop. To me, it looks normal. So I apologize if there was an issue and some of you couldn't see everything that I was showing. And of course, you know, it's a Murphy's Law thing that's the one video. I had tons of things to show. So again, I can, you know, pull some things out and re-show them. If somebody really, you know, wants to see something else, that, you know, be no problem. Just comment. Let me see. Oh, my husband, you know, I told you he was coming back. He did make it back. He's been home for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks. And then today I actually just took him to the airport right before I sat down to film. He's flying to Miami for the week. He'll be back on Friday. So he is doing some, you know, some traveling, but this time he's based out of here, which is really nice. And he did bring me a goodie. Let's see, he got me a standard Merrick's spool cotton spool cabinet. It has 4 large wide drawers, and at the bottom 2 half drawers side by side. It's in just beautiful condition. I will insert some photos for you to see. He got it at an outdoor flea market, which is just crazy. Beautiful condition. I'm thrilled to have it to add to my other spool cabinet. And so he brought that back. So I was excited about that. He brought back some more samplers. They have not been unwrapped yet. So maybe one of the next 2 videos, once we get everything kind of unwrapped and, you know, I can take a look at them, I'll go through and maybe show some of those. So let's see. All right, let's get on to, I think I have kind of gone through most of the things for that. Let's get on to the stitching. I don't have a tremendous amount. I only worked on a couple of things, but I did get a finish. If you'll remember, last time I showed you a new start, and that was Little House Needleworks, Liberty 1776. This is an older chart, but to me, a very classic chart. And I'll show you my finish. Here's my finish. I was very happy with it. And the only change that I made was the red that's around the star here and here. And then also supposed to be this star. That called for color was brandied pears. Now I left it brandied pears in the middle star, but on the 2 outside stars, I actually had just gotten in my color and cotton thread. I'm in one of the thread clubs, and I just gotten in this red, and it's kind of it's not a bright red, but I thought it would just look really good because I wanted a little bit more patriotic looking. So everywhere that it called for brandied pears, which down in here, you can see there's some red highlighting in there. And then in these two stars, I switched the brandy pears to that red. I don't remember the name of it, I apologize. And I've already put everything away. But anyway, I loved it. I stitched this on Shrekie's Tan instead of Weeks Cocoa. I wanted to try some of the needle bling. Last time I showed or highlighted some needle bling fabric, and this was the first one I'd stitched on, and I absolutely love stitching on it. It's awesome to work with. I talked about that from a shop owner's perspective last time, but it's also really nice to stitch on as well. So very happy with this. I'm gonna look, I've got a big tub of extra frames, like maybe some that are thrifted, or some frames that I maybe pulled some old things out of and saved the frame. And I don't know exactly where that tub is. I think it's probably buried in the garage still. One of the projects that my husband and I have to do is to pull everything out of the garage that was piled in there from the move, and go through and get it all organized and gone through. We know we've got a lot of things that probably just need to be gotten rid of. So he's hoping that maybe next weekend, since it's Memorial Day weekend, we can have some time to work on getting all that pulled out. And I'm thinking my tub is probably in the garage, and I can look for a frame and try to frame that real quick so I can have it up for the summer. So since I finished that, I thought, well, you know, I'm gonna be starting my New World Sampler on the 29th, I believe is Memorial Day, so a week from tomorrow. And so I thought, I'll just need to go to my WIPs and pull something out. I'm not gonna try to throw in another start. And so I decided to pull out the Gather In from Paulette. I love this one. And here's the progress that I made. So since I last worked on this, and I only worked on it for about four evenings, what I did was I filled in all of this lighter color around the big star on the barn. I filled in the middle of these stars with that same color. I can't remember, I think it's Arrowhead from Weeks. And I added in the flag. So, you know, made some progress. That's a big barn. So what I'm gonna do, I believe, is for this week, stick with it, and I'm gonna continue focusing on all of these things, finish in all of these sunflowers, probably, you know, be able to put in the rest of these little flowers, and kind of get all of the little things all done, and potentially go ahead and do the words across the top as well. And then all I'll be left to do is just come down the front of the barn, and hopefully I'll have this one done before fall, when I'll want to actually display it. Okay, and so that's it as far as my stitching, my finish, and the WIP. And so one of the reasons probably I didn't get more done was because I was at retreat, as I mentioned a little earlier, in Amana. Roberta Lyle, if you watch the Sable Stitchers, that's Roberta. She and I drove up. I drove this time. We've been taking turns driving. And so we drove up on the Wednesday before the retreat, because we wanted to be able to get in and be able to get our seats at the retreat, and then on Thursday, and then take off and go over to Muscatine, Iowa, to the Little Red Hen. I've gone up now three years, spring and fall, I think in a row. And each time everybody's like, oh, going to the Red Hen, going to the Red Hen. Never had time, because we always went up on Thursday. And by the time we would get up there, it would be everybody sitting and kind of being ready to stitch and visit. And I didn't want to really kind of take that time to drive over to Muscatine. And it's about an hour and 15-minute drive each way over to Muscatine. But this time I'm so glad that we did, because I'm not going back in the fall. I just have some other things going on. So I wanted to get up there and go see the Little Red Hen. And if you're ever in that area of Iowa, it is well worth the stop to go into the Little Red Hen. It's just an amazing, amazing quilt shop with also wool and some cross stitch and kits. And they will kit almost anything in that shop if you see it and ask. So, and if you can't, wait for them at that time, they'll send it to you. So, well worth the shop. Well worth the shop, also the stop. So, but then we were there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and drove back on Sunday. And I did a little bit of stitching, but not a lot. So that was kind of like 4 days worth of almost no stitching, really. There. Otherwise, I would have had that Liberty 1776 done way earlier, and maybe even gotten, something almost a finish on Gather, or even maybe pick something else to start at that time. But it is what it is, and had a great time. We saw some good friends, and got an absolutely beautiful kit. We do an exchange. When we got in, we had these little cubby kind of looking things, little holders at our table, at our chair. And then it was just full of all kinds of goodies. There's let's see, this is from the Antique Needleworkers, little candy and some floss cards. There's just, I can't even tell you. This is from Karin Zirin. She's Karin ZK on Instagram. Teresa Kitten Stitcher handed out these little books. Let's see. Look at this. Isn't that cool? That was another cute giveaway from one of my table mates. Let's see. We had Sue Ream gave out some floss cards. Katrina Devine gave out some floss cards. I mean, there was all kinds. You came back and, there would be something else. So, if you get the opportunity to go to a retreat that, is close to you, or maybe not even close to you, but you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend trying to go. The friendships that you make are just so nice. On Friday night, we do a stitch gift exchange, which I did participate in. And my gift was from Sandy Hochtel. And she had a nice little card and this really cute little, let's see if I can get that glare off of there. Little needle minder. So I've got that to add to my collection. And she made that fabric. I love this fabric. But it's like little project roll. Isn't that sweet? And she filled the pockets with some little goodies. I've got some little snips and some John James needles and highlighter. And then when you flip this up, there's a bunch of needles in there, all different sizes. And then this is actually like a little pin cushion. And she's got some more pins. I thought this was just really sweet. I love it. I did not have one of these. I've never made a needle roll. Or one of these little project rolls. And so I was really happy. So I don't know if she watches me or not, but Sandy, if you do, I'm just going to say another thank you so much. This wraps around, which is kind of cool. It's a nice button on the front, and you can close it right up. So love that. That was my exchange piece. The other thing that she had in here was one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they're magnetized. They're like little, I've seen them where people have put them on like their dashboard in their car, but you can use them for anything. And look at this. This thing is full of all kinds. There's pins. There's a little, I think is this a seam ripper? I think it might be a seam ripper. A scissor fob. And look, oh, the plastic thing fell. The other stuff did not. So pretty handy, pretty handy. Keep your needles in especially so they won't go anywhere. One of the other little gifts that we got, and this is just amazing. Everybody was really oohing and awing. And I'm not even 100% sure who gave this to me. I'm so embarrassed that I don't know. But we had these boxes that were handed out. And beautiful box, like this type of a box, only with the windows, like you would see candy or something like that in. And one of the attendees had made these. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? The little pins. Comes out, goes right in. She made all these. There's 100 people there. So she made one for each person, plus she did the boxes and then handed them out. I was just, well, everybody was just flabbergasted. I mean, you'd have to have a whole suitcase just to take all of that. So thank you so much. Just another, real sweet thing. And then I received a gift from my sweet friends, Shelly and Liz, who are the antique needleworkers. If you haven't watched them on Flosstube, you definitely are missing out. Go watch them. Shelly is so sweet and very caring, and we found out this weekend she's actually has been a minister, or is still current minister, and you see that in her kindness and her giving soul. Liz has the most infectious laugh. Together they are just like a warm hug. They knew what I've been going through with my mom, and so they gave me this really sweet gift, this box, and I just wanted to show you this because it's just so sweet. So I popped this off and opened it up, and inside is this molded 100% natural beeswax sheep. Look at that. Is that not adorable? This is so sweet. And I'm just so touched by the two of them. They are just, they're just the best. They really are. And I just want to say thank you again. So, okay. And the piece de resistance from the retreat, we got this lovely box. I'm just gonna close this up here real quick. You can kind of see. And Paulette was so thoughtful and put this as John Hancock. So if you wanted to have somebody sign your box, you could. I didn't do such a hot job. I did have Paulette sign it for me. And then my good friend Teresa Jacoby, and of course she wrote Go Kraken because she happens to live out in the Seattle area. So anyway, I didn't do a great job of getting my box signed. The day we got these, Paulette had a pop-up shop right after she presented the project. And so I actually was her clerk for the afternoon. And so I was in kind of working with her instead of paying attention. And I had my box. I should have, as people were coming through, I could have gotten everybody's signature, but I was busy taking money. So it's okay. It's all right. But we got this beautiful box, and inside we got this absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous project design. Is that not gorgeous? I love it. So there it is in its chart form. I'll insert a picture of the actual model that she had there because it was just beautiful. And I'll do that. And then we got a couple of little smalls that go along with it. Isn't that sweet? It's like a little pin keep. And inside, floss tags. Look at that, aren't they sweet? With a little floss ring. Linen, I will probably change my linen. This is a 36 count, and I almost always stitch on 40. So I will probably change that. And then all of the flosses to do the project. All in all, it was a very good retreat. You know, I'll be sad to not be able to go back for the next couple, but it is what it is. And sometimes you can try other places that fit in schedules a little bit better at different times. I'm excited about that. I only have one kind of piece of haul that I will show you. I got some things when we were up there from like the Woolen Needle and the Little Red Hen, but they're not really stitching necessarily related, more like wool kits and things. Not something that, you know, probably, but this is the show, but this is the only cross stitch thing. I did pick up Birds of a Feather and Wells. I just love the funky designs of Birds of a Feather. And I actually grabbed this on eBay. And got a pretty good deal on it too. So I was excited about that. It came this week. This is definitely an older one too. Maybe from 2009. It's hard to tell for sure. So I did get that, but that's really about the only haul I'm going to share. The only other thing that I did get that's a little bit of haul that's kind of stitching related, but not a stitching pattern, is this. Remember these slates, these chalkboard slates that you would be handed? You could sit at your desk and do these. Here's an old one that I got at a flea market for, I want to say $3. And the reason I bought this is for this, the Little Red Schoolhouse Pin Keep. Now this came out in 2022 from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. And I thought, wow, how cool would that be to finish this and mount it in the middle of this chalkboard slate. And then this week, my May 2023 collar and cotton floss arrived, and it has this beautiful red in it that I think will just be perfect to stitch it with. So the only thing I have to do is figure out the linen, and this is going to be all set for a start. And already it's so nice to have an FFO in mind for it, so I don't like scramble later thinking, oh, do I want to frame this? Do I make yet another pillow? What do I do with it? I just saw that, and I don't even know why it popped into my head, but it did, that I had that Little Red Schoolhouse Pin Keep, and I thought, ooh, it won't be a pin keep. It'll actually, you know, get mounted on a, you know, flat board, and probably be able to glue that board right onto the front of the slate. And anyway, I just think it'll be kind of cool and different, and it's got the string so I can hang it, which, you know, in my stitching room, which is going to be fun. So, okay. And so since that's a plan, let me just quick run through my plans again. I did do those last time, but the reason I'm going to run through them again is because there are stitch-alongs attached to them, and I thought it might be fun if you wanted to know about these stitch-alongs and join in if you are so inclined. And I've got my 3 bags. Let me see, let me get these in order real quick. Okay, so this one is my own. This is something I've been doing now for the past 3 summers. This will be my 4th, is to stitch one of Paulette's historical Rhode Island style samplers. And this is the New World sampler, which we'll be releasing this fall. And I will be starting this next Monday. And I have it housed in beautiful bag that my good friend Christy from Crosshatch Quilts made. It's gorgeous, gorgeous bag. And so this one is all ready to roll. If you would like to join me, and you've always wanted to stitch one of Paulette's Rhode Island style samplers, grab one. There's 3 existing. There's the Heritage Sampler, there's the Equality Sampler, and the New Constellation, which is the Betsy Ross inspired sampler. All 3 are just beautiful. So join me if you like. I don't really have a specific SAL. I guess maybe I should do a hashtag. Let's see, I could do hashtag historical summer SAL. I don't know if that really, does that indicate stitching? Maybe not. Historical summer stitch. Is that too much to type in? I don't know, what do you think? We could do, but when I post my start, I'll have come up with something. And if you'd like to join in, please do. I'd love to have you. Let's see. The second one is a SAL that I'm co-hosting with sweet lady Merrit Crawford. And she asked me if I would like to join her in stitching a Paula Vaughan. And this is the one that I chose, Forgotten Basket. That'd be a beautiful summer stitch. We are starting this SAL on June 21st. And Merrit Crawford is sew just because. It's sew, S-E-W, underscore just, the word just, underscore again, because, B-E-E-C-U-Z-Z. And the hashtag is Summer Stitching Paula Vaughan. And it starts June 21st. That's Summer Stitching Paula Vaughan. And, grab one, join us. We would love to have you join. And I'm going to be stitching mine, and I'm very excited about this because I got to meet Rachel in Amana. So I'm stitching mine on Thornfield. And I just think that will be beautiful. It'll give it a little vintage look, but still has that cream color so that the soft colors will shine really nicely. So, Rachel was a blast. I really thoroughly enjoyed meeting her. She's really funny, probably funny me without intending to be funny even. She's just really, she was just really cool to hang with a little bit and talk to, and very nice lady. And my last one that I'll share, again, because it's a SAL, this is put on by the hyggestitcher, which is Samantha Roberts. And it's going to be starting on August 1st. And it's the Lila Studios market release this year, which was Summer Quaker. And it'll start, like I said, August 1st. And the hashtag will be hashtag Live in the Sunshine SAL. And you can hear more about this one from Samantha on her Flosstube channel. She's also been posting on Instagram about it. And it's hyggestitcher, which is H-Y-G-G-E Stitcher. H-Y-G-G-E Stitcher. And I'll put that information down in the description box below as well. So there are the 3 things that I have. So that's my Memorial Day, then first day of summer, and then August 1st. So I don't know that I'll do a tremendous amount other things in between, especially with my Memorial Day start, because that one is always set to finish by Labor Day. So if I don't stay somewhat focused on that and make sure I plan my time accordingly, I won't finish, and I'll be very upset because I've always finished in time. So let's see what else. I think the last thing we have is just the giveaway. All right, Sweet Melissa Biscornu. Sweet Melissa Biscornu from Heartstring Samplery. This is a full kit. It has the threads, it has a needle, John James needle, it has the linen, everything for the Sweet Melissa Biscornu. And the word was Biscornu, and the winner is Brenda Holzman. Thank you for participating and congratulations, Brenda. So Brenda, please just message me. You can message me on Instagram. Brenda and I share October birthdays, so we will send each other a happy birthday. So you could message me there or email me, whichever is the best way for you to get a hold of me, and I'll get this sent out to you. So thank you everybody for participating in that one. And let's see, last thing, positive response to the needle bling fabric. I think that you will love stitching on it. It's a Zweigart based linen. Teresa just does a fantastic job. So does Brian. I mean, I shouldn't just say Teresa. Teresa and Brian do a fantastic job of just the way that they process their dye, the way that they, dry and iron and serge, and it just comes in very nice with no corners yanked, and it's just really nice, and I think you'll love stitching on it. And so I had a very positive response to the highlight that I did last video. And then the last thing, and we'll wrap up, is I will be participating in the Needlework Marketplace virtual show that will be the last weekend in August this year. So I would imagine it's not Needlework Expo, it's Needlework Marketplace. So there's a different vendor who's putting on the show this year. And I'm assuming that they're probably going to do something very similar where designers are putting their sneak peeks, things like that on Instagram. So keep, I think if you follow probably the hashtag Needlework Marketplace or follow that account, you'll be able to see. But there's some really good stitchers designers who are going to be participating. I know Tanya from the Scarlet House is participating this time. This will be her first virtual market. But you can go onto needleworkmarketplace.com and actually click the list for all of the exhibitors and take a look, and you might see some of your favorite designers that are participating. So as a shop, I will be participating and excited to, grab those new designs for the shop. If there's anything that you're going to see over the next couple of months that releases that you want to have, you can feel free to message me a list and we'll shop for you. And I think other than that, good to go. Can't think of anything else. Have a great Sunday afternoon. My lawn is mowed. My husband's gone. It's nice and quiet. I think I might just sit out on the deck for a little while and actually do some stitching. I'm not painting another thing. We've been painting like crazy. We've gotten the whole entryway, this front room, my craft room completely finished and painted, and almost all of another front guest room painted in the last 5 days. So I am not painting a thing while he's gone. So I'm just gonna grab some iced tea and my stitching and relax. And I hope you are gonna be doing something fun this afternoon as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy Sunday. Take care now. Bye-bye.